在课堂上呢，有着极为深刻的印象。
Good evening, Dharma sisters and brothers. May we all stand up. And since today is Tara teaching, I would like to all of us to join and sing this mantra of Tara to welcome Rinpoche into the hall.
请各位双手合十站立呢。为了恭迎朗日达波夏仲仁波切的莅临呢，那因为也今天的演讲题目是这个圣救度佛母的开示，所以请各位跟我们一起念诵这个绿度母的心咒。
Om Dare Du Dare Du Re Soha 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 Dare Du Dare Du Re Soha Om Dare Du Dare Du Re Soha Om Dare Du Dare Du Re Soha Om Dare Du. We now all do prostration to Rinpoche.
Okay. Is it? Okay.
Before we begin with today's teaching of Tara, here we'd like to invite the host of Sri Lotus Life Foundation, Yamba Bahagia, Datin Sri Lu, to come forward to Rinpoche and do a kata offering to Rinpoche for long life and a great teaching.
咱们邀请这个南帝鲁薛tin女士呢，代表这个莲花生命基金会呢，
Thank you.
为仁波切献哈达，代表吉祥如意、长寿健康。 哈达代表着无上的献意跟敬力，好，谢谢，请各位给热烈的掌声。
Sri Lotus Life Foundation, on behalf, together with all Dharma sisters and brothers, would like to bid a very warm welcome, Rinpoche, to Malaysia and to this great place of Sri Lotus Life Foundation. Thank you for hosting this teaching when we begin in a short while.
莲花生命基金会呢，仅代表全体佛友们呢，欢迎仁波切莅临马来西亚，然后给我们这个佛法的开示、灌顶和加持。
So without further ado, we'd like to welcome His Excellency Dapo Sabdrong Rinpoche for today's teaching of essential Dharma practice for modern day people.
现在有请仁波切为我们给予这个佛法的开示。那今天的题目是圣救度佛母呢，适合现代人修行的精要修持法。
It's all right. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So, like this. Okay. So thank you for having me here in this center, and thank you very much, Datin La, to invite me here for 2 days program.
那感恩这个莲花生命基金会达店水鲁确挺女士呢，邀请仁波切到来这边为各位进行2天的佛法的活动。
Actually, I was in Malaysia like few years ago. I think it was 2016. So it is not my first time here in Malaysia. I was in Kuching and Ipoh, and I think it's Cebu. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of the place yesterday, but finally I remember the place. I think it was Cebu. So I was, in those places for some programs as well.
那仁波切应该不是第一次来马来西亚，早在2016年的时候，仁波切已经去过了马来西亚的几个地方，比如说古晋啊、怡保啊、西部等等。那昨天想不起这个名字，那今天都把这个名字都给想起来了。
So today's teaching, right? It's more like because I don't consider myself as a teacher. Because I'm still studying and still quite young, so I would say, it's more like a sharing about Tara's practice.
那今天是一个教法，可是仁波切并不认为自己是一个老师，所以今天呢，只能当作是一个分享，而且仁波切还年轻，也还在学习的过程当中，所以请各位把今天的佛法开示当作一场分享会。
So, first of all, right? In terms of this dharmic practice, the most important thing is always our intention.
那关于这个佛法这方面的修持跟学习，最主要是我们的动机，或者说是这个发心。
Because right, whatever we do, whatever our actions are, if without the intention, there is no any karma or there is no any action, because the action itself cannot be based on action itself, but it has to be based on intention.
因为不管我们做什么，是日常生活中的行动也好，佛法的修持也好，如果没有所谓的动机跟发心的话呢，那我们的动作，我们所作所为就失去了它的意义跟方向。所以我们的所作所为的一切呢，一切所作所为都必须要跟我们的动机有所连接。
So now we need to know, I'm talking in a way, right, that is supposed to be listened by very hardcore Buddhist practitioner. So I will speak, strictly about the practice.
所以这不是主要的，今天演讲主要对象是所谓的一般的怎么说传统的典型的这个所谓的佛教徒。所以我们进入正题的时候，讲比较严肃的一些方式呢，去讲述这个课题。
So the reason why we practice Buddhism is always to achieve enlightenment.
那为什么要学习佛法呢？目的不外于就是为了要寻求这个成佛，或者是得证无上正等正觉。
Yes, but just because we practice Buddhism doesn't really mean that we need to achieve, enlightenment.
可是并不是因为我们学习佛法就只是为了要成就佛道或者得证无上正等觉而已。
You can practice Buddhism to be a happy person.
你可以学习佛法为了变成一个快乐的现代人呢。
And you can practice Buddhism to be a better person.
你也可以为了成为一个更好的人而学习佛法。
But it doesn't matter, the ultimate aim to practice Buddhism, especially for those very strict Buddhist practitioners, it always has to be, the intention has to be to achieve enlightenment.
但是无论怎么样都好，对于那些比较典型的传统的所谓正式的佛教徒而言，他们学佛的目的，最终的目的呢，就是要为了要成佛，就是为了得证无上正等觉。
So how do we achieve enlightenment? First of all is our karma. We need to accumulate the karma, right? And we need to accumulate a wisdom. So those two things is very much dependent on our intention. As I say, action itself cannot be judged based on action itself. So the intention is very important.
那如果你问说我们要如何成佛得证无上正等觉呢？那就是要看我们的福报跟我们的智慧，那看我们的业。那我们的业呢是来自于我们的这个动机，所以动机本身 就是说业本身并不能够解释它自己，业的意义跟方向呢是来自于我们的动机，或者说是我们的发心。
Yes, and especially this now, during this sharing of Tara's practice, right? Not only the listeners have to have very, pure intention, but also a teacher, myself, right? The one who expound this, the practice has also need to have a very good intention.
特别是关于今天所开示的主题，这度母的修持啊，不只是聆听者学生必须要有这个纯净的动机，那身为老师的仁波切本身也必须要先具足这个纯净的善好的动机。
And one thing, right, that I want to clarify is that, because we as a Buddhist, we always, whenever a teacher talk, whenever there's a practice, whenever there's a puja, right, we always talk about motivation. Intention is very important. First we need that motivation. First we need that intention. Then we can practice. But we need to be very skillful about it.
那因为什么要这样讲？因为每当有一个佛法老师在那边说法的时候，有这个法会啊，有这个仪轨啊、灌顶啊等等的仪式在进行的时候呢，那个佛法老师一直强调这个动机的重要性、发心的这个重要性，一直苦口婆心这样讲。可是当我们讲到发心或者动机的时候，我们要明白，我们要如何具足善巧方便的去这么为大家说明跟阐释。
Because as if the intention always has to be at the beginning, as if the motivation always has to be before before the action itself. But I don't think it's very necessary.
因为我们看起来、听起来好像是所谓的动机跟发心是好像还没有做事情之前，你必须要具足它，或者是一开始之前就必须要完全具足这个善好的动机。那仁波切并不认为常常都必须要是如此的。
Yeah, because as in real life, what I have seen in people is that, they really want to practice, right? But they're not motivated enough. So that's why they don't practice. A lot of people.
因为在我们的现实生活中，你看到很多人想要学习佛法、想要修心，可是必不具足这样的一种动机或者是发心哦，那就干脆就不要修、不要练了。很多的例子都是这样子的。
Yeah, and because we, right, as a practitioner, we have a best excuse to say that, I want to practice, but Rinpoche, I don't have a motivation, I don't have this good intention. I'm not motivated enough. Because during all those teachings and all those practices, we always say motivation is very important. You must generate a genuine motivation. You must generate a genuine intention. So that's why we as a Buddhist, we have a very good excuse not to practice, because we say, I'm not motivated enough. And most of people, right, that's why most of the people end up not doing anything at all.
会跟开示当中讲动机很重要，发心很重要。可是这样讲的时候呢，我们就给自己很多的理由去说仁波切我不记住这个动机，我的发心还不够了，还是不够好，不够资格去修这个法、修那个法。那我一点都没有这个动机，这个驱动力呢，去修这个修那个，所以到最后呢，一事无成，什么都修不了。因为我们不断的强调动机的重要性，到最后呢，没有人有任何的动机去开始起修任何的法门。这个就是我们目前所面对的问题。
So that's why sometimes, right, even though we are not motivated enough, right, even though we don't have any specific intention, but we just need to start. Along the way, you will find the motivation.
所以即便是我们一开始的时候没有记住太好的动机或者是发心，可是只要开始，万事起头难，只要一开始就好了。在这个起步的过程当中呢，慢慢的，一定会找到应该有的动机跟动力。
Yeah, because this is one of the major struggle that I have witnessed in a lot of people. Also myself.
这是仁波切在很多人身上，包括他自己身上所看到的我们内心的这种挣扎。
Yeah, just like me, I want to lose some weight, right? But to be honest, if I want to lose weight, I need to start from early in the morning. But when I'm in bed, right, it feels so nice. I just don't want to get up, right? But this is not an excuse. I cannot make an excuse, right? So I need to get up and run. Maybe after a few minutes, I see some changes, then I'm motivated. So that's why just always don't wait until you are motivated or until you have a good intention. We just have to do it.
比如说，人们就说自己本身为一个例子，要早上起来凌晨跑步。可是如果要等到有动机的时候才来起床去跑步的话，那总是起不了床，不愿赖床，不想起来。可是一旦你强迫自己起来了之后有起步了，一开始就跑了晨跑，那慢慢你会找到晨跑的动机跟动力，去继续的进行这样的一种运动吧。所以这样的话，你不管做什么事情，开始就立刻的去做，不要等待有动机、有这个良善的时机才去做，做了之后才找到适当的动力跟这个动机去继续的进行下去，这样就够好了。
Yes, so anyway, whatsoever, intentions is very important, right? So without the intention, as I say, I want to rephrase it again. Without the intention, our action means nothing. For example, crocodile, right? Crocodile doesn't smoke, right? Crocodile or rabbit doesn't drink, but there's no good karma for not drinking and not, smoking, isn't it? Because they don't have any intention not to smoke. They never had an intention not to drink. So even though they're not smoking, even though they're not drinking, but there is no kongta, there's no karma, good karma, because they never had the intention to go with it.
那举一个例子，我们说，单如果没有缺少了动机跟发心的话，那个业那个作为本身是不具足任何的意义跟功德的。为什么呢？比如说，人们就说一个例子，鳄鱼它绝对不会去抽烟，那抽烟对来讲是根本不算是一件事情。那这个白秃也不会喝酒，那可是白秃的不喝酒跟鳄鱼的不抽烟，根本不会为他们带来任何的功德，因为这个事情对他们来说，他们根本没有动机去抽烟或者说去喝酒。就这样而言的话，当然不具足任何的这个功德。所以就这方面而言呢，可见我们的动机跟发心，就这个行为本身来说，行为必须要具足这个动机跟发心，才具有这个意义跟这个功德。
Yes. So now, so because of the intention, right, we do things. And based on that intention, if intention was a good, and the action is good, right? If intention is bad, action is bad. So when it comes to Buddhism, when we talk about good karma, bad karma, the general information or general knowledge what we receive, right, is always like, oh, good karma means you do something good and you have a, favorable result. And bad karma is if you do bad things and there's an unfavorable result in our life. Now that's the good karma and bad karma. Yeah, this is true, but this is not the strict definition of karma to those who believe to be a hardcore Buddhist practitioner.
那一般上而言呢，讲到动机的时候，我们说你动机纯善好的动机的话，就会有所谓的善业；那动机是不好的、不良善的话，就有产生这个恶业。那你做好事一定有好报，做坏事一定会有恶报。善有善报，恶有恶报。那通常一般人对这个典型的佛教徒而言呢，都是有这样的这种想法。可是业的本身呢，并不完全是这个样子的。
Yeah. So what does it really means, right? In terms of practice, is that whatever makes you, right? Whatever brings you closer to Dharma. Now that is the good karma. Whatever pull you, push you away from Dharma, that's a bad karma.
真实的阐释就是呢，只要那个作为本身让你更靠近，跟你离佛法更靠近一点的，那个就是善业。那个能够让你离佛法越来越远的，那个就是恶业。
Yes. So that's why sometime, right? So as I always say, to practice Buddhism, and achieving enlightenment, right? For that, we really need to have a very different mentality, very different mindset.
所以人们就常常说呢，学佛乃至为了要成佛，我们必须要跟凡人有不一样的这种思维模式、想法。
So that's why it is very important for all of us that why are you practicing Buddhism? If you are practicing Buddhism to be happy, it's very simple, right? If you really want to achieve practicing Buddhism to achieve enlightenment, then we need to have a total different mentality.
那所以各位要问清楚自己呢，问清楚自己一个问题：我为什么要学佛？如果学佛只是单纯为了一个要成为一个更快乐的现代人的话，那非常的简单。可是如果你学佛的目的是为了要成佛的话呢，那你必须要有一种不太一样的思维模式跟想法。
Yes. So as I say, whatever brings you closer to Dharma, right, is a good karma, right? So now you think, why most of the people visit temple? What makes them visit temple? You know, and what makes them forget about the temple, forget about receiving teaching? Is that, the thing that really makes them go to temple or see teachers, right, and receive teaching is because they're unhappy, isn't it? So in that term, actually unhappy is bringing you closer to Dharma, isn't it? So in that case, suffering or unhappy is not necessarily bad. That is what bringing you to go to temple, do prayer, see master. So it's actually a good karma.
所以呢，我们说让那个人能够让你靠近，离佛法越来越近的那个是善业，那个善法。那你我们自己问一个问题说，为什么我们要去这个寺院里面呢？烧香拜佛，然后参访上师，见佛闻法呢？那为什么有什么原因使我们离开寺院，不再去烧香拜佛，不再去闻法，然后亲近善知识呢？那主要的就是因为去烧香拜佛、去闻法、听法的人，去见上师、参访善知识的人，都是因为不快乐，生活中不如意、不快乐，才去烧香拜佛、见佛闻法的。那可见这个痛苦本身，生命中的痛苦本身，其实并不是一件坏的事情。那是因为生命中有苦难、有不安、有不快乐的情况跟事情呢，才让我们去这个参访寺院啊、拜佛、烧香拜佛，然后参访上师时，然后求道求法。那可见这个痛苦生命中的苦是一个好的业，是一种不错的事情，不是不好的事情。
Yeah, so if our life is so nice, no problem, all happiness, right? Trust me, our monastery will be empty. There will be no people visiting temples. There will be no people doing prayers, really. So in that case, right? So this is a very different mentality, isn't it? Whenever you are unhappy, that's what brings you to seek Buddhism, isn't it? Right? It's actually creating an opportunity for us to, practice, which is caused by the suffering. And if we were happy, right, trust me, we wouldn't be practicing all these things. Buddha wouldn't be even teaching, right? So see, we need this very different mentality. If we go out and say, oh, suffering is very good, trust me, we will be in lots of trouble, isn't it? If you say, oh, don't be happy, it's actually it's a sort of like a bad karma, People will be very unhappy, isn't it? So there's a very different mentality we need to adopt if you really want to be a strict Buddhism. Strict Buddhist, sorry.
所以如果要成为一个认真的佛教徒来说，你去想一下，如果生命中什么问题、什么苦难都没有的话呢，那寺院早就关门了，那出家人早就没有了，没有法会可做，没有法可修，所以这是完全不一样的这种思维的模式。那如果你不会不快乐的话，佛也不会说法，大家也不会修法，那释迦牟尼佛也不会为我们开示84000种法门。那所以痛苦为我们带来的学佛、求道、修法的这个机会，所以一切的来源都是来自我们的这个痛苦。那要不然没有痛苦的话，就没有佛法的修持。可是如果现在出去跟别人说啊，因为痛苦是一件好事，痛苦让你跟佛法越来越靠近的话，你这样讲说没有，我们就会有大麻烦的这个出现了。所以如果你要变成一个很认真的、很努力的一个佛教徒的话，你必须要转换你的思维模式。
Yeah, and especially in terms of Buddhism, right? We always talk about the renunciation mind, right? Trust me, if you are very happy with this life, right, in this world, we will never have a renunciation mind. And we can actually feel the genuine sense of, this renunciation, right, is when we are very lost in this world. When we especially, those lovers, when they are heartbroken, they can really have this kind of like, oh, nothing in this world is really worth it. There's no value. You see all those things so senseless. And actually, those renunciation mind happens within us when we are actually very low, when we are actually unhappy.
所以我们谈到佛法中里面所讲的出离心的时候呢，那你会发现到说，唯有我们非常快乐的、非常痛苦的时候，才会迷失的时候，才会觉得有这个出离心的重要性。那比如说是谈恋爱的人失恋的时候、心碎的时候啊，特别是非常的低落的时候呢，才觉得生命没有什么意义的，生命是非常的低沉的啊，不值得留恋的。所以必须要有一种生命的低落点呢，才能让你感觉到，我必须要升起这个出离心。
Yes, but don't please me, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying, try not to be happy. Really, I'm not saying happiness is something wrong. I'm saying be happy as much as you can, but don't worry about the, unhappy. It will always will be with us. We don't have to be worried. But whenever there is unhappiness, right, we need to change our mentality. Really, that's the, very, very important message.
那不要误会仁波切啊，以为仁波切说叫你不要变成一个快乐的人，那尽量的尽你所能的去变成一个更快乐的、更过的生活日子过得更写意的一个现代人。可是呢，不要忘记这一点，就是说快乐的情况常常都会与我们同在。当我们不快乐的时候、痛苦的时候，要记得、要切记、要转换我们的思维的方式跟想法。
Yes, because especially in our Sakya tradition, and we always have this kind of a saying, that we need to turn poison into a medicine. We need to turn, the steel, right, those rusted iron into gold.
特别是在我们洒家派这个佛法的传承里面，我们讲说要把这个毒药变成这个解药，变成疗愈人的这个良药，特别要点石成金，把一般的铁变成这个金块。
Yes, so as it is very obvious that all of us have a problem, right? So never let that problem let you down. Really, whenever you have a problem in your life, whenever you are unhappy, whenever you are sorrow, right? You're having this sorrow. It is very important, to have that kind of mentality. Oh, it's actually a good fupao, right? That's what makes me what brings me closer to Buddhism, to practice.
所以呢，当你每个人生命中都有自己的问题跟烦恼，但是不要让这些问题跟烦恼呢击败你，让你一直低迷不起。那要知道说，要认真说，这是有一个大好的机会呢，去培育我的福报，去让我跟我的要修行的佛法越来越靠近。
Yes, so that's the mindset, very important. Okay, so now, as we say, I will achieve enlightenment so I can help all the sentient beings. Now, this is the statement that we hear all the time. To be honest, right, if you spend some time thinking about it, it's actually very, strong and very scary, statement.
那我们所以刚才所讲心态是非常的重要的，仁波切说。那我们说，学佛目的要成佛，那成佛是为了要广度一切众生。可是你认真的看这一个声明的话，你会觉得是蛮可怕的、蛮恐怖的一项声明哦。
Because not all the time, to be honest, right? But sometimes, especially me, I'm trying to speak out of my own experience. Like sometimes I also feel very down. Like I also lose some. I also feel very hopeless sometimes, right? So at those moments, I just try to read some books. That's my thing. Like whenever I'm unhappy and whenever I'm very down, I would just read some books, right? So, and I would see those, the aspiration bodhicitta. To be honest, at that very moment, I feel like I cannot really help myself. I feel so helpless now. And this is the thing this is, the statement that I chant like every morning all the time. And I feel like, oh, how scary it is, because I cannot even help myself. How can I help others? Let alone, freeing them, from all the suffering, isn't it?
所以呢，特别是人们对自己的经验谈到自己的体验的时候，人们就偶尔会感到低落跟消沉的时候，当人们就感到低落消沉的时候，他会看很多书，看佛书的时候谈到这个摩利契达发菩提心文这个赞颂的时候呢，特别是感到非常的无助跟无奈，那人们就说我只是做不到10%啊，那菩提心愿文里面所说的这一切，那我连我自己都帮助不了我自己，更何况去要帮助其他的众生，甚至能够让他们离苦得乐究竟成佛呢？所以他到这边是觉得非常的无奈无助。
Yes, because I think it's also a very, very degenerated time. For example, oh, my husband, he drinks a lot. He's drunk most of the time, but he never cheated on me. So he's a very nice husband. This is the time we are living now, which is actually very fundamental requirements for a husband, isn't it? Very fundamental requirement. It is nothing about being nice or good or being sublime about it, right? It's actually a very fundamental need, but this is the time we are living right now. If you're not using other people, if you're not hurting other people, you would say, oh, he's a very nice person. To be honest, it is not. It is a very fundamental need, fundamental requirement for a human being.
那我们特别是身处于这个末法的时期啊，我们说我的老公天天喝酒是一个不太好的人，可是他对我很好，他没有做对不起不忠的事情，那就是个好的丈夫了。这是我们的现代人的基本要求，就仅只是这样而已呢？难道不利用别人、不伤害别人，那就是一个基本的好人吗？实际上并不是这个样子。可是因为身为末法时代的我们呢，基本的要求已经低落到这样的一个层次了。
Yeah, so that's why in this, very degenerated time, that's why we need to have connection with certain beings that have a power or strength to help us, which is, especially a green Tara.
所以在这个末法时代的我们呢，我们必须要跟一个圣者，像绿度母这样这个圣者连接呢，来帮助我们。
But we also need to understand, because that's how, we as a Buddhist teacher teach, right? Oh, pray to Buddha. Oh, you have problem, do this prayer, pray to Tara. It will help you. As if, Tara is going to come to you, see you, and, like make you lose your weight. But it's not true, isn't it?
那我们特别是佛教的老师常常说你这个修绿度母的法门呢，绿度母就会帮助你，让你心想事成等这些。那实际上度母并不会来找你，不会帮你解决你的问题，不会让你减重减肥成功，绝对不是这个样子。
Yeah, like you are having lots of taxes complications, right? The issues, and you pray to Tara, and somehow it got fixed, right? And you may believe, oh, Tara came to your office, and do all the taxes things for you, and now you don't have a problem. But it's not like that.
公司有税务的问题，你拜绿度母，然后绿度母为你解决所有办公司方面的税务的问题，那绝对不会是这个样子啊。
Yeah, and also Buddha, we pray to Buddha and we pray, Buddha, please help me out, right? Buddha, please look out for me. I'm having lots of issues, right? And yeah, it helps, to be honest. It helps. To praying, doing all those things helps, but it is not that how it, work, right? How it work. It's not because Buddha came to you and fixed all the problem.
那比如拜佛，佛也是这样子啊。比如说佛，我需要你的加持，我生命中有一大堆的问题跟烦恼需要解决啊，佛就跑过来救你，帮助你把你的问题一下子给解决掉了。那不是事情运作的方程式，所以绝对不是这个样子的。
Yeah, because Buddha, he himself said, I think most of you have heard that Buddha, he himself, I don't have a water that can wash your sin. I cannot wash your sin with my water. I cannot, go, disappear your suffering by my hand. What I can do is only teach you that it is all up to you. That's what Buddha said.
那正如佛陀本师释迦牟尼佛所说的，他并没有这个清净的水能够把众生的罪业洗涤干净，他也没有这个手呢能够把这个众生的苦难一下子都给拿掉或者扫除掉。这佛陀经口所说的这个千真万确的这个宣言。
Yes. So now, So let me try to explain how it works, right? Is that the reason why we are suffering, right, is not because Buddha was busy doing something and he forgot about us. It's more like we have our own condition. The condition which is created by our own karma, which means created by our own physical, mental, and verbal action, right? The condition created by our own karma or our own action, right? So sometimes we do bad things and bad things will happen to us because that how we were conditioned by our karma to be suffer, right? So this is our own condition, it's our own creation.
那事情是怎么运作的呢？也就是说呢，我们所谓的这个苦，我们苦的受苦的原因，受苦受难原因，并不是因为佛陀在偷懒度假，或者佛不愿意帮助我们，绝对不是这个样子。我们之所以受苦受难呢，因为我们有自我的状况所限制住了。那我们自我状况来自于我们的业，我们也来自于我们的身口意的所作所为。那我们做了不好的事情之后呢，就会受到这个恶业的所限制，所以我们就会受苦或者受难。所以这一切都是自作自受的。
Yes. So the condition is created by, as I was saying, is our own intention, our motivation, right? So that's why. So when we change our karma, when we try to, do good things, right? Good karma, then we are conditioned to have happiness. When we do a bad karma, right? When we commit a bad deed, then we are conditioned to have bad things happen in our life. So that's what we are supposed to change. And that is change when we pray. It's not that this thing, actually work. It's actually what you have inside that, create the condition.
所以既然一切都是自作自受的，那一切的自作自受的业，那跟我们的动机跟发心是有关系的。所以只要改变了这一点，比如说我们有这个良善的动机去行善业的话，那我们做了善业之后呢，我们就有这个快乐的果。那我们做了恶业，有这个恶的动机之后，做了恶业呢，就会有这个苦的这个果。所以当我们在祈祷绿度母的时候呢，我们内在的动机、内在里面有所改变了，那外在的状况，那我们的感受就有所改变。所以要改变的是内在，这个才是这祈祷绿度母或者修持绿度母法门的这个方程式的运作的方式。
Yes, so yeah, it is never have been about how many incense sticks that you hold every morning when you pray. Really, it's never been about it. It's never been about a money, how much money you have offered. It's never been about, like a prostration. How many, 100,000 prostration I've done. Never about it. It was always about your intention that creates a condition in our life to have a happiness and to have unhappiness. We need to know, or else most of the people think Tara will come to your room, and fix your problem. Tara, Buddha will come to you and come to your room and make your room very clean. No, it's not like that.
所以永远都不是你供了多少、烧了多少支香才能够获得功德，供养多少钱才能够获得功德，是顶礼10万遍才是不是？动机，当内在动机改变之后呢，你生命的状况或者或苦或乐的结果都因此而得到改变。度母祈祷佛陀的时候呢，不要希望绿度母能够下来，或者佛陀能够出现呢，把你的房间清扫得一干二净，绝对不是这个样子来运作的。
And moreover, right, we all of us need a certain condition to see a Buddha, to see a Tara. And this is something that we have to create, right, the condition. And that condition is created by our devotion, our faith that we have toward Tara, right? This is the only way we were going to see a Tara, or we're going to, like receive the blessing of Tara or Buddha. We also need to create the condition.
而且我们必须要创造一种条件跟状况，那以便能够，比如说我们亲近度母啊，亲近佛陀，乃至于得到他们的加持。那这样的条件跟状况是什么？就是我们的虔敬心。那我们对他们的这个信心，那当我们对佛陀有信心，对绿度母有信心的时候，那我们就能够亲近他们，并且得到他们的加持跟帮助。
Yes. So Tara, Buddha, Guru Rinpoche, all of them are actually very great masters, or Buddhas, right? But in order to help yourself, the biggest helper that you could ever, receive or meet in your life is yourself. None other than yourself, really. If you really want to achieve enlightenment, if you really want to be happy, you can help yourself more than Tara ever could help you, or Buddha ever could help you.
那我们有许多的圣者跟这个成就者啊，那比如说诸佛、度母啊，本师释迦牟尼佛啊，这个莲花生大师等等。可是最大的帮助来自于我们自己本身。如果你要成佛，你要变成更快乐的人的话，你自己对自己的帮助，比其他人对你的帮助，乃至于比这个度母、莲师跟这个佛陀对你的帮助更为重要，更显得非常的意义重大。所以自助者才能够获得别人的帮助。所以自己才是最重要的。
And yeah, so when it get to the ultimate point, right? When it get to the ultimate truth, Tara is none other than yourself, none other than ourselves, Tara.
究竟的层次而言呢，度母其实就是我们自己，度母从来没有离开我们这个自己。
Because Tara. The practice of Tara, right? It's actually belong to Tantrayana, right? So there's a very general, way of introducing Tara, but there's also a very secretive way of introducing Tara. For example, there's like external Tara, internal Tara, and also a secretive Tara, secret Tara.
所以一般度母的法门来自于我们的密续金刚真的这个法教，有这种一般式的解释度母的方式，还有这比较共的解释的方式。那就密续而言，我们可以分为这个外度母啊、内度母啊、秘密度母等等这些。
And when it, as I say, at the ultimate level, the Tara is none other than our own primordial wisdom,
那究竟的层次而言呢，度母其实就是我们的最本初的原始的圆满的智慧。
Yeah, so basically, we are helping ourselves. That's what we need to know, and we need to change our mindset if you really want to, create the condition at the beginning, create a condition to see a Tara, and at the end, create a condition to become Tara.
所以呢，这一切都是自己在帮助自己，所以我们必须要转换我们个人的想法和思维方式，到最后能够亲近度母，然后自己成为度母本身。
So now you might think, oh, so what is Tara? Like, was there a person who used to be who was a Tara, or is just like a myth? But yeah, there was a Tara. It was not like during a Buddha time, like 2,500 years ago. The story that we see, right? The history that we see in our scripture is like many, many eons ago. Tara was born.
那你就会问说，度母到底是谁啊？是什么？那他到底是不是一个人，还是神话中的传说？那其实人们就说，度母并不是说是2500年以前的那个佛陀时代的一个人物，而是在经典里面我们读到说，在无量劫以前呢，有一个曾经有这个度母的前世有诞生过在这个世界上的。
So yes, Tara was a real person, just like us.
是的，度母就是一个真实的人，就跟我们一样，非常的真实。
So like many, many years ago, during the time of Buddha, in Tibet we call ngada, like a drum sound, Buddha drum sound. I don't know, maybe something like that, Buddha drum sound. There used to be a princess whose name was like Wisdom of Moon or something. There was a princess. Just say there's a princess, right? Yes.
那很多眼节以前，这个在这个古印如来的时代呢，就是这个智慧月公主就在那个时候诞生了。
So and she was very, very devoted, to Buddhas. And so whenever she has a opportunity, she would always go out, and set a large offer because she's a princess, right? So she is, she can afford a large offering, food offering to Buddha and Sanghas.
那个时候，因为她是公主嘛，所以她广修供养，她常在很多的机会呢，因为她对佛菩萨特别具有这个虔敬心，那她以广修供养呢，以各种种种的这个珍贵的贡品呢，供养诸佛如来。
Yeah, then eventually, she generated a bodhicitta, that she want to become a Buddha and help all the sentient beings to be free from all the suffering.
到最后，他就广发了这个无上的菩提心呢，为了要上求佛道，下化众生呢，就是要发愿让自己成佛呢，去救度跟利乐一切的如母有情。
And this news was spread, like around her place. So there were some monks that visited her and say, "Oh, princess, you are so nice. It's so auspicious that you have, generated a bodhicitta. So now you should dedicate, right, which is very important. So you should dedicate this bodhicitta mind, to be born as a man, right, and achieve enlightenment in a, male body and help all the sentient beings." That's what those monks, like how to say, gave her advice or recommend.
可是那个时候呢，有很多男众的出家众啊，就是比丘，来到他这个公主的身边，跟他说啊，你这么广修供养呢，累积了不少的福德资粮，可是你必须要发愿呢，回向功德，说下一世，愿我下一世能够转为男生啊，这样的话才能够真正的利乐有情，广度众生。那时候很多男性的比丘都这样的跟这位这个智慧月公主这么说。
Oh, but she said no. I've seen so many human, so many beings achieving enlightenment in male body, but I have never seen, any woman that achieve enlightenment in female body, right? And help sentient beings. And she said, I want to achieve enlightenment in female body and help all the sentient beings.
这个公主说不，我看到很多众生是因为转成男生而成就佛道的，没有看过任何众生以女生成就佛道的，所以我发愿以后呢，未来是我会以这个女生来成就佛道，这样我才能够真正的上求佛道，下化众生。
So from that time onward, she now have generated a bodhicitta mind, right? Bodhicitta. Then she practiced, and eventually she achieved enlightenment. And that's how she become, the Mother Tara.
所以呢，他发了这个广大的菩提心之后呢，结果修持成道，成就无上正等觉，这个是圣救度佛母的来源。
Yeah, then, these are the like story. Then there are also like some very famous story about Tara. Like for example, Chenresi. Avalokitesh Sharwa, right? So as Tara, Avalokitesh Sharwa also used to be a normal human being, right? So but also very compassionate one.
所以呢，这个除了度母这个故事之外，当然还有其他的这个本身故事可讲了，比如说是Chenresi、观世音菩萨等等的大慈大悲心这个观世音菩萨的故事也有。
Yeah, so as he was very compassionate, he would always think that, oh, I will help all those sentient beings, make them free of suffering. But whenever he has complete this task, right, but there's still so many left who needs, his help because they are suffering, right? So he eventually he feel very hopeless, helpless. So he said, oh, I cannot do this now. It's just too much for him. So he started to cry.
所以这个观世音菩萨在本身的时候呢，就是说他发愿说要广度一切众生呢，使每一个众生都离苦得乐，究竟成佛。可是每当他完成一个任务之后呢，度了一个众生之后呢，他看到还有无量无数的众生正在那边等待，正在那边受苦受难，所以他觉得非常的失望 沮丧跟这个无助跟失落，所以他就眼泪就不由自主的掉了下来。
So then his tears, right, begin to form a pool, a water pond, pond filled with tears, right? And from that tears appears a lotus. And on top of that lotus, there was a Mother Tara. And she said, don't worry, I will help you.
所以因为流泪流了很多，聚成了一个水池，水池上面长出了一朵莲花，莲花上面这个圣救度佛母就出现了。然后这个达拉度母就对他说，没有关系，从今天开始让我来帮助你吧。
Yeah, so anyway, you will hear the stories, but with very slightly, different version, because there are so many scriptures that actually talk about these stories, right? But all of those stories are not actually same. So there's a different version of those stories. So don't think, this Rinpoche came and he told us and totally like a fake story. But there are many different stories.
你听到人不是讲这个版本的故事，你会说这个人不是讲版本好像是假的，我听过了，好像版本好像不太相同。那人不是解释说很多不同的版本的同样的一个故事呢，会有不同版本的说明，所以各位请不要去误会。
Yeah, so the point is that Tara is a real person. Yeah, Tara was a real person.
总而言之，圣救度佛母就是很伟大的一个圣者，就是了。
So yeah, this is like many like eons years ago, right? But even like recently, I wouldn't say recently, like during a time of Nalendra, right? For example, like it must be like maybe 2015, maybe 1700 years ago, right? During during time of Nalendra, right? So there was one very old lady, and her daughter, has to marry. But in Indian culture, right, even now it exists. Like if you want your daughter to get married, they need the thing called, like Hindi we call it dowry. I think English also same, right? I think it's like came from Hindi, because I don't think Western they have this kind of culture. So it must be from India. So they also need a dowry. So the mother doesn't have anything to offer to the her going to be husbands, her daughter's going to be husband, in-laws, like she doesn't have anything to offer to as a dowry.
所以这个是九眼节所发生的这个故事。那即便是近代史而言，比如说那兰陀的时代，应该是1700多年前有一个老女人，她要把她女儿嫁出去在 Hindi 或者在这个印度的传统里面，这个 dowry 就是陪嫁金吧。要把女儿嫁出去的话，有一个陪嫁金，她没有钱去这么做。这个老女人没有那么足够的陪嫁金去这么做。
Yeah, so then mother was very helpless. So she tried to find who help her. So one of the person they said, "Oh, why don't you go to Nalendra? There's a very famous master called Chandakirti. Chandakirti, right? And he is, he will definitely help you." So mother saw hope, right? So she was very happy and travel all the way to Nalendra and meet a great master, Chandakirti.
所以有人就告诉这位老妇女说，那个有一个叫做 Chandakirti 的大师，月称菩萨在那兰陀那边，你应该去找他，他会为你解决你目前所面对的这个问题。所以这老妇女呢，就长途跋涉呢，花了一番功夫呢，才去到这个那兰陀，找到这个月称菩萨。
So Chandakirti must be like one of the staff, in Nalendra monastery, because all of those, the whole Nalendra is actually, they handled or managed by monks, right? For example, right, in Nalendra. So just like that, Chandakirti must be, one of those, like maybe manager in that Nalanda Institute. So whenever when she saw him, he said she asked, she tell her problem, and Chandakirti said, "Oh, to be honest, right, I cannot really help you. I have nothing to offer to you." In that case, it was either money or ornament or some gold or silvers, right, which he doesn't really have.
那个手把好像就像龙树菩萨一样，那个就那个Chandrakirti 月称菩萨应该是这个那兰陀寺院的管理人经理人之类的其中一部分的成员或者是职员。月称菩萨见到这个老妇女就跟他说，老妇女，其实我对你一点帮助都没有，我既没有你要的这个陪嫁金，也没有所谓的足够的金钱啊，或者是陪嫁品呢可以给你的。
But I think, that's my own thinking, that maybe, he saw some connection, with, see some connection, because he said, oh, go and search another master, right? Chandra Gomi or something. I guess it's Chandra Gomi. So he didn't, Chandrakirti, he didn't help her. He said, you find another master. There's another master called Chandra Gomi. I think it's Chandra Gomi. I'm very sure. So I think, right, in my own thinking, maybe Chandrakirti, he saw some, because Chandra Gomi is someone who really, practice and pray to Tara. So maybe he saw some connection, that old lady with Tara. Because Chandrakirti, obviously he can help, because he is someone, because at that time, right, they were, because at that time, not exactly, I mean, the Chandrakirti, he is someone that actually paint a cow, right? Who actually, how to say, a milk from those cows paint. You understand the wall paint? There's a cow, right? So he has someone who has so much power, so much supernatural power. He actually milk from the cow paint on the wall. So obviously, I think he could have helped, right? He has those supernatural power. He can just do some magic and give her, all those money and those help her to fulfill the dowry, right? But he didn't. He said, go and find, that another master whose name is Chandra Gomi.
这月称菩萨大概是看到了这个老妇女跟杜母之间的一些因缘以及背后的连接吧，背后的背景吧，所以他叫说我这里没有办法可以帮助到你，那请您去找这个江扎卓米大师，所以江扎光密的连接，因为为什么呢？月称菩萨自己本身是一个具有神通正量的一个大师。他画了一幅强画，那画了一只牛，那甚至能够从这个母牛那边呢，他能够从这个画里面挤出真正的牛奶，所以他具有这个不凡的超凡的神通力。可是如果要他变现出这个金钱啊、陪嫁金之类的，他当然可以很容易的做到。可是为什么他不这么做呢？就是因为他可能看到了一些背后的不可思议的因缘，所以他就叫这位老妇女去找这个Chandragumi大师。
Yeah, then when the old lady, met Chandragumi and, shared her problem, right? Chandragumi said, to be honest, right, I also cannot really help. What can I really help? How can I really help? So all I can do, I will pray to Tara, right? Because in his room, there was a Tara painted on his wall. And that Tara, happened to have lots of ornament, on his body, right? And he pray, and he pray and pray, and Tara appear from that paint and remove all her ornaments and give it to, Chandragumi and say, give it to her. So after she removed all the ornaments from her body, right? So on the painting, there's no any ornament left. So even now, like at that time, there's a very famous story, even the Tara has a name called the Tara without ornaments. There's a name to that painting, very famous painting.
所以这个加拿光密大师也觉得无助，不能够帮助这位老妇女，所以是这样呢，圣救度母求助。那时候那个度母的像呢开始说话，然后把他自己身上的种种的妆络、因缘呢、言饰、饰品呢都除下来，然后交给这个加拿光密大师说：“你去用这个东西来帮助这位老妇女，当做陪嫁品、陪嫁金。”所以这个很出名的故事就告诉我们说，现在你可以看到那幅画，那画里面的这个度母是没有任何的饰品的，没有任何的这个璎珞庄严的，所以这称之为无饰品之度母。
Yes. So, yeah, the point is, Tara is real.
告诉这个位置，度母是真实的，真实不虚的。
So now, now what does Tara mean, right? Tara, the name, it is a Sanskrit name. So it means a liberator.
那个这个 Tara 是梵文，它的意思就是救度者。
So as I say, Tara, the practice of Tara is actually belongs to Tantrayana.
就如所说呢，之前所说，度母是属于密续的一种修持的法门。
And there's different levels to Tantrayana, and that Tara actually generally belongs to, in Tibetan we call
那一般的这个度母呢，在密续中有各种四部类序的法门呢，就属于这个 Kriya， 就是这个四部的这个密续的。
But there are also different Tara, different practices that belongs to the highest level of Tantra, Lame. Yeah, something. I don't know the term.
然后还有这个属于这个无上密续的这个无上密的这个度母法门也有的。
Yeah, so and the thing that is that most of the Tara only has like 2 hands, right, and 2 feet. But when it comes to the practice of the highest Tantra practice, right, those Tara has actually different form. Like 4 arms, also faces like that.
一般的度母就是2只手、2只脚的，可是来到无上密续部的无上密的度母的话，它可能有4只手啊、很多张脸啊等等之类的。
So, and yeah, something like that. So, and maybe we can talk about it later. So now, as I say, the practice of Tara is basically belongs to Tantrayana. So now, when it comes to Tantrayana, we cannot just be satisfied, by generating bodhicitta. That's not enough.
我们说度母是属于密续的这个法门，然后来到密续，金刚乘的修持的时候，单单发了菩提心之后是还是不足够的。
So our perception, the way we see the world, now is very important.
我们的世界观，我们看待事情的角度跟这个看法是非常非常重要的。
Yeah. So now the perception was the pure perception, because in Tibetan we call it Nanda. So it's more like, whatever, not only the teacher, because usually we say, oh, teacher, oh, he's like a Buddha, he's like a, Bodhisattva, all those things, right? But now when we come to this practice, Tantrayana practice, not only the teacher is Buddha himself, Tara, but now you yourself, see yourself as a sublime being, not a normal being.
所以关于这个清净观，清净观就是密乘密续的这个不共的这个观点。那不止在这个清净观里面，不只是要把自己的上师、自己老师视为佛菩萨，或者视为绿度母，无二无别。那你连你自己本身必须要看重你自己，把你当作是不同于一般凡夫的一个圣者，你是一个不凡的人，你必须要有这样的清净观。
So you yourself is a Tara, right? And the place, this is not just, a building to like sublime beings, like very, I don't know how to say, like it's like a godly realm, something like that.
不只是你自己要把自己当成是跟度母无二无别，你自己所处于的这个环境，这个建筑物本身并不是一般的建筑，而是度母的宫殿，属于度母的，好像非常神圣的一种存有，一种神圣的环境，这就是度母的宫殿。
Yes, and the reason why we need to do it is because when it comes to Tantrayana, right, there's 2 things that we really need to fix. First one, right, is the impure perception. Like, oh, I'm just for me example, I'm just one guy who happens to be a, Rinpoche and fat and lazy. This is our impure perception, right? This is something that we really need to get rid of. When we practice Tantrayana. So for that, we need to believe ourselves. We need to have that, I wouldn't say ego, right? But there's like an uplifting emotions or energy that we need to develop by thinking that I'm not just a normal person. I'm a Tara myself. and all those things that around me is not just normal thing, is a godly and sublime things.
所以关于这个呢，金刚乘的修持、密续的修法要改变2个重要的要点，一个要点就是必须要有这个清净观，也就是说呢，我们不只是说，我如果我认为我只是一个一般的，我只是一个家伙，必须要把这种自我设限的观点，通通给超越，通通给放下，要自尊自重，对于一种自己有一种很良好的、积极的、正面的价值观啊。我跟别人是不一样的，我是一个圣者，我就是绿度母。那我就是绿度母的话，凡是属于绿度母的所有的人事物呢，都是美好的，都是神圣的。所以这个是第一个要改变这个清净观。
Yeah, so the second one is that now even you looking at yourself and thinking, oh, I'm a Tara, right? I'm a sublime being. And even that thinking is eventually has to be erased. So for that, we need, the understanding of emptiness.
即便是这种我是度母的，我是圣者，我是非凡的这种想法很不错，很美好。那可是到最后的究竟的层次而言呢，我们还是必须要记住这个空性观。所以即便是我是圣者，我是度母的这个观点，这种想法到最后也必须要被超越，被放下。
Yeah, and it's not only emptiness, to be honest, right now, and that's where all these, Kagyupa, they have their own, a view, right? And that's when it comes to Sakyapa, we have our own view. Gelupa, they have that's where, all these things actually differs.
所以这是我们所谓的见地，金刚乘的见地，噶举派的白教的这个行者有他们的见地，他们的 view， 那我们洒家派有洒家派自己的 view， 这不同的各派的见地主张。
Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's like totally different, but the way they, introduce that view, right, are that wisdom is a little bit different.
不能说他们的见地是大不相同，而是他们引介见地的这个方式跟风格是不太一样的。
Yeah, so that's the reason, Usually, generating bodhicitta is enough, but when it comes to Tantrayana, we need to have this kind of mindset, attitude, mental attitude, which is very important and which is not only important, which is much more powerful than just, having those motivation and intention.
所以在金刚乘言呢，单单密续的修法言，单单广发菩提心还不够好的，我们要有具足这个清净观啊，所以这个清净观这样的一种思维，这样的一种见地呢，是非常的重要，甚至比单纯的广发这个菩提心来得更有力量，更有这个力度。
Yes, and now, that's why. Now, if we come back to Tara, right, ourselves is that now we need to know what is Tara. Tara, usually we say, is the embodiment of compassion, compassionate activities of all the Buddhas. Is embodiment.
那回到我们的这个主题呢，什么是度母？谁是度母呢？那度母就是诸佛大悲心事业的总集化现。
But in the form of female deity.
以这种女性的这个形式来救度我们。
Yeah, and which is also very special, to be honest, because when it comes to helping, when it comes to sensitivity, the energy and how to say, a loving kindness, I think comparing with men, I think women have, much higher level on that, part. I believe so.
那人们就相信说，当我们谈到说帮助其他人的时候，关于这个敏感度，关于这种力道，关于这种方式，关于这个慈悲心方面呢，女性应该是比男性来得更有力量，更有这方面的这种特质。
Yeah, but it doesn't really mean, women are better than men, just don't get it wrong. I need to clear this thing.
那要澄清一下，并不是说女性来的比男性更好，或者女人比男人更重要，绝对不是这个意思。
It is not that, I'm so scared that people might think me as a feminist But trust me, it's not like that.
仁波切会害怕说有一天人家会称呼仁波切为这个女性主义者，那这样就不太好。
Because that's how women are like karmically conditioned. Really, that's what I think. It's not that intentional. That's how they were born with.
女性一生起来就是这样的这种天赋吧，一种天生的能力啊，他们天生的这种业的这种展现，不是他们有意图特别要变成这样。
Yeah. So now, another thing that I really want to explain, because now we are, jumping into Tantrayana practices, right? Which is not right now, it's just very, rough. It's not very subtle teaching. It's just, it's not very subtle, sharing. It's just, I'm trying to share some information general information with you guys, right? So in order to understand Tantrayana, I need to give you one example.
那刚才所讲到目前为止，只是简单的一个构图，给大家认识一下，具有这个基本的常识，什么是度母，什么是度母的法门，但是还不够深入。那为了认真的告诉各位什么是密续的修行法呢，我们就会给大家一个例子。
Yeah. So, for example, right? We have like 3 vehicles, right? How to say? The lesser vehicle and a bigger. How is bigger? Bigger vehicle and this Tantrayana vehicle, right? For example, in a room, in one room, in your room, let's say in your room, you see one snake, right? And when you see a snake, and when you have a fear, or this snake might bite me, so he ran away, right? So this is an example, but the meaning is that when it comes to lesser vehicle, right? What they really do, the snake represent the samsara. So when that lesser vehicle practitioner, when they see samsara, they think, oh, this is full of suffering. So I'm gonna achieve enlightenment. So achieve enlightenment. Now that is, the lesser vehicle practice, approach.
那所谓的3乘呢，那我们就所谓的一般的所谓的低的乘，刚刚大乘，然后金刚乘的密续。那举一个例子说，你有一间房子，那房子里面跑进来了一条蛇，那因为你害怕这条蛇，所以你会产生各种各样的反应跟动作。那对于一般所说的小乘的行者，他们看到这条蛇代表就是我们的轮回的痛苦，轮回 samsara。那他们看轮回的时候呢，为了要逃避轮回呢，所以他们希求佛果，他们追求解脱跟佛果的目的是因为害怕轮回。
Yes, and the snake, as I say, the snake represents a samsara. What is samsara? All the pains, all the sorrow, right? All the emotions that, push us so high and pull us so down sometimes. The aggression, the desire, the obsessions, right? The passion, all those things. That's what I meant by samsara. So Mahayana, when it comes to Mahayana, right? He goes in the room and see the snake, right? And that Mahayana practitioner get the snake out of, he will kick out the snake. That's what he does.
所以这条蛇代表就是 samsara， 就是我们轮回中的苦恼、迷失跟各种各样的问题跟烦恼。一般我们的贪嗔痴慢疑等等这些都有。那如果那是一个大乘的行者的话，房间里面跑进来的一条蛇，他会直视面对那条蛇，然后勇敢的把这条蛇赶走、赶跑。
So yeah, the first one didn't care about others. It's only me, I'll be free from this thing, right? The second one, he rid of the snake because he doesn't want others to be victim of the snake, right? So that's what he did. That's the Mahayana. He did all those things for who? For others.
所以第一个看到蛇就跑掉了小乘的行者呢，他不管别人的死活，他只管自己的安危，所以跑掉自己跑掉就算了。可是第二个行者，身为大乘行者，他关心到别人的安危，所以他很勇敢的面对这条蛇呢，勇敢的把这条蛇赶走赶跑，也不是为了自己的自私自利，而是为了他人的这种安乐。
And when it comes to Tantrayana, right, it's very special. It's because what he does is that he will make a snake his own friend and achieve enlightenment and make other people achieve enlightenment.
那来到了密续金刚乘修习者，那就更高，比较不凡一点，他就让这条蛇变成他的好朋友，然后他跟这条蛇一起成佛，也让别人因此而这样呢，而离苦得乐，究竟成佛。
So the lesser vehicle and Mahayana, right, vehicle, what they really do is that they really look down on desire. They really look down on those emotions, they really look down on, how to say, all those hatred, all those emotions. They really look down and get rid of those things.
身为小乘和大乘的行者，他们态度是什么呢？他们对待烦恼的方式，比如说贪啊、嗔啊之类的东西，这种烦恼，他们是看不起他们的啊，觉得这个是不值得我不屑一顾的，所以我要把他们赶走的、赶跑掉，从中得到解脱跟自由。
But Tantrayana, they are happy when they see it.
可是密续的行者看到烦恼，他们觉得非常的开心。
Yeah, and they will utilize it in such a way that it will even help them to achieve enlightenment way faster than the first two.
密续的行者乃至于把烦恼当作朋友，他能够转之为道用，以便能够以烦恼为道用的话呢，让他们成佛的速度比小乘跟大乘的速度更为快一点。
So that's why it's something that is not really like in how to say, in Tantra and all those statues of Tara, right? They have a very, how to say, I don't know if I should say it or not. the word, because how to say this word, the breast, right? I don't know how should we, like, it's very I don't know, this word sounds very, I mean, the word that I have in my head right now, the only word sounds very inappropriate, like, voluptuous breast, right? But we will see a lot of Tara in lesser vehicles in the temples. They have a very flat one. What it really represents, is that what it really means that, they really look down on desire, because this is what it actually represents, that it is desire, right? So, but in Tantrayana statues, you will see, very voluptuous boobs, breast, right? But in Tantra, the thing is that, they don't look down on desire. What other look down on desire,
那怎么看得出是这一点？就是大乘、小乘跟行者，大密续的行者跟小乘跟大乘行者对烦恼欲望的态度是不一样的。那你看到度母的圣像、度母的画像，你看到密续的寺院里面呢，他们的度母的胸部是非常的丰满的，代表欲望啊。可是你看到一般的大乘的寺庙乃至小乘寺庙里，要不然就是没有度母，要不然是度母的，他的胸部是平的，就是看不起，他们认为说欲望是烦恼，是我们应该抛弃的。可是密续的行者把欲望当作是修行的助道的方便，而不是应该要排斥的东西。所以就这点呢，密续的行者对待这个烦恼欲望的态度是跟小乘跟这个大乘行者是大不相同。
Yeah, but I mean, it's not absolute, like, oh, all those statues of Tara in, the Theravadian monastery is like flat boob, right? It's not like that. But you will see many, and this is one of the. I hope so, because that's one of those Theravadian, teacher. He told me, that must be the reason. He was also confused, and I thought, no, this also, sounds quite interesting.
不是全部都是这样啊，所以一般的这个上传南卓部的法师告诉仁波切说，大部分原因就是因为他们小乘的行者看不起这个欲望，把欲望当作是修行的障道，所以就是有这个很多度母都是平胸的。
Yeah. So now, so I think the most important thing is that, like when we talk about Tara, we always, the meaning of her name is like liberator, right? And liberator. So what she really liberate us from? That's what we do. That's what really defines Tara.
那度母的意思就是救度佛。
Tara, liberate us from different types of, how to say, like problems, right? The first problem is problem that happen outside of your body, right? For example, earthquake, right? Like the volcano, all those stuff, things that happen outside, the bad thing that happen outside your body.
度母是能够把我们从生命中的问题跟麻烦中解救出来的一个圣者。那第一个问题就是我身外的问题。那身外的问题，比如说地震啊、天灾人祸，发生在我们身体外边的这些人事物不好的东西。
Yeah, and the problem that happen inside, right? For example, the anger, how to say, ego, one of the most important thing, and also like a lokta, how to say lokta? Like, a wrong view that happen inside our mind. Now, this is the inner problem.
那另外一个问题是我们内心里面的问题呢，身体里面的内心的这个问题。那我们的嗔怒心啦，我们的我执，我们自我感，那我们的邪见、错误的见地跟思想都是。
Yes. Now there's also outer, inner, and secretive, right? The secret tragedy, or I would say affliction. The secret affliction is our mental grasping.
那除了讲了外跟内之后呢，秘密层次的这个烦恼，那最究竟就是我们的这个自我的执求。
So all those three are actually affliction, that bring so much trouble in our life.
这些外内秘密的东西都是我们的烦恼，那为我们生命中制造了各种大小不一的各种麻烦跟困难。
Yeah, and most of us, like many of the people doesn't even know that mental grasping, seeing things and, like, how to say, characterizing certain things in our mind is actually a problem. Is a problem something that we don't even know that exist.
那这个内心里面呢，有所执求，有所执取，然后看到东西就想执取他们呢。那很多人在生命中，我们的很多人，大部分人都不把这个真正的问题当作是一个问题，那视而不见。
Yeah, for example, monk should always wear a red robe. This is also, that mental grasping is also a very big problem when it comes to, achieving enlightenment.
那出家人应该要穿橘红色的这个僧袍，那种执求，那为我们的这个求道修行方面，也的确制造了大小不一的各种这样的麻烦。
Yeah, maybe you might think, of course monk are supposed to wear robes, red robes. How come this monk has very long hair? It's not right. Now you might think, what I'm thinking now is very true and very, it's something that is not a problem at all. You might think like that.
那可能你会说，出家人本来就是要剃发为生的，怎么这个人长发披肩呢？就觉得这个很有问题啊。那可能你也会认为这并不是个很大的问题。
But this is like one of the tragedy that happens secretly in our, like bring tragedy, right? Secretly in our life.
这个可是在我们生命当中秘密的发生的一些生命中的悲剧。
Yeah. So these are the three affliction or tragedy that happens in our life, and there is three different Tara in our life.
所以既然我们生命中外内跟秘密都有3种不同的层次跟问题发生在我们的生命中，所以也会有出现3种不同的度母来救度我们。
Yeah, for example, right, the reason why I'm telling you this is because is that if you try to learn, the meaning of Tara's mantra, there always be like 8 types of fear. It talks about fear.
那如果你学习一下杜母的心咒所代表的含义呢，那杜母的心咒能够让我们解救我们的八种灾难、八难，救八难杜母。
I think 8 or 9, I'm not very sure. I think it's 9. So now, for example, right, fear of lion, that's what they say, right? Fear of lion. Because, this is not like, because these teachings are like 1,000 years ago, right? So that's why they always has a fear of lion, fear of wild elephant. I mean, those things are not very important, but just let me walk you guys through this, 9 fears, right? So then third one is, fire. And fourth one is a snake, right? Fear of snake. And fear of robbers, thief, right? Those robbers. And fear of poison. And fear of floods, water floods, right? Like tsunami, all those stuff. And fear of demons, like very famous Arya, right? Sort of like that.
所以一共有大概9难还是8难啊？我记得。那一般的第一个是狮子难，那这就是上千年前的这个印度的说法，所以他们是害怕狮子的。然后下来是野象啊，接下来是这个蛇，然后大火灾，然后盗贼，然后就是毒药，然后现在是水灾，比如说这个飓风啊，天灾之类的东西，还有下来就是恶魔，就是我们的害怕的这降头啊、魑魅魍魉之类的东西。
Yes. So now this is because when we explain the Tara mantra, right, there's always these 8 fears, right? That what Tara free you from, all those fears, right? But this is not the real point. The point is the inner fear. And even more important is the ultimate one. Now that's
念这个杜母的心咒，可以让我们解救这个8种困难、8难，那让我们从中得到自由。可是那个并不是主要的要点，主要的精要所在就是念这个杜母心咒，能够让我们远离内在的8难，特别是我们秘密层次的这种灾难。
So now, what are the inner fear? The first lion, right? It represents pride. So we always have a pride, right? Now this is also affliction. It's something that we have to be saved from, isn't it? And Tara can help you to save it, save you from this.
怎么内在的这种恐惧跟这个灾难呢？就第一个狮子难代表是我们内在的骄慢心。那如果你有我慢的这个骄慢心的话呢，这个也是一种烦恼。所以杜母能够把我们从这个我慢心的烦恼中呢，解救出来，得到这个自由。
Yeah, and the fire, represent hatred. And the robber represent wrong views. So, the thing is that it's not only about those external, it's about internal fear.
所以这个大火代表我们的嗔怒心、恼乱心，然后这个盗贼呢代表我们的邪知邪见。所以我们的灾难、我们的恐惧永远不是外面，而是我们内心里面的真正的烦恼跟敌人。
Yes. And as I say, the most important thing, right, is a secret affliction, right, which is a mental grasping. The reason why I say, the mental grasping is an affliction is because we as Buddhists, we always talk about achieving enlightenment, right?
那为什么啊？所以我们说内在的秘密的层次的这个烦恼，就是心念的执取，才是我们最大的障碍。那因为我们佛教徒常常谈到要成佛呀，成就无上正等觉这个字眼。
And enlightenment, right, is not, please don't think like, because in our Taiwan, and I don't know about Malaysia very much, but I've been in Taiwan for the last 2 years, right? Most of the people, like Chanfo is like going to some places, right? It's like, going to Amitofo's, Pure Land. They think that's the Chanfo. But no, Chanfo is a state of awakening. I wouldn't say state, because, that's what my English teacher taught me, right? Like English friend, they taught me, right? They say state is something that you can be and you cannot be on the state, right? Like you are on the state of that thing, but later you will state is something that can be changed, right? So that's why I don't want to use a state. It's more like a awakening, from all the delusion. That is enlightenment. It has to do with your mind. It has nothing to do, traveling to another place.
那我们谈到证悟啊，谈到成佛，我们不知道马来西亚的情况怎样。仁波切在台湾住了2年之久，那一般上谈到成佛证悟的时候，永远是好像说我们要从这个地方去到另外一个不同的所在地，去到另外一个地方，这样才叫所谓的证悟跟这个成佛。但是真正的证悟和成佛是什么意思呢？它是一种觉悟，是一种觉醒，乃至不能够称之为一种状态，一种 state。因为仁波切的英文老师告诉他说 ，state 的话，你可以有时候在那个状况当中，有时候不在那个状况。但是这个成佛的这个状况，觉悟的状况，你永远恒时法尔如是的都安住在这种觉悟的觉醒的状态之中，这个才叫真正的这个证悟或者说是成佛。
Because once you are awakened, you are always awakened. There's no like state of not awakened. That's why.
一无就是一旦成佛，就是一劳永逸。那你不会是不在那个状况，这个状况是你永远都在的，所以就不能够称之为一个状况。
Yes, and now the awaken means like free from delusion, right? So as long as you have this mental grasping, it means that you are not awakened. That's why you're thinking monk should monk always have to shave their head. Is a mental grasping. It is actually afflicting you in a that's why, right? Mental grasping and achieving enlightenment, right, is like total opposite. So that's why whenever you have this grasping, it actually distracts you from the non-duality, reality of non-duality. That's why it is an affliction, isn't it? It totally goes against our aim.
所以呢，这个觉醒就代表着我们从一切的迷妄中得到解脱跟自由。一旦心念有所执取，比如说你认为出家人要穿这样的僧袍，一定要是剃发的，那这种执迷的心念本身也能够障碍你呢，使你得不到真悟，或者说是得不到成佛的这种成不了佛。所以这种心有执念跟那个立地成佛，这两者是背道而驰的。因为你心一旦有所执念执取的话，那跟我们非二元的这个境地呢是有相违背的，是相互矛盾的。那一旦跟这个非二元的境地是相反的时候，那个就是一种烦恼，一种迷惘。
Yes, so when it comes to the ultimate truth, right, the union of clarity and union of emptiness, right, that's the Tara.
当我们说到圣义谛的时候，究竟的真理的时候，所谓的明空不二，这个才是真正的度母。
Yes, because that's the thing that actually, that's the wisdom. And that's the thing that actually save you from that secret affliction, which is the mental grasping, right?
这个才是真正的智慧，这才是能够把我们从秘密的这个烦恼中，也就是心念有所执取的这个障碍中得到出离的这个究竟的法门。
So, and that understanding, that wisdom, that the union is like a very fancy thing to say, union of clarity and the emptiness is just like wisdom, the ultimate wisdom, right? It's not someone else's wisdom, it's your own wisdom. It's your own, awakening wisdom, right? So that's why, now that's the ultimate Tara. So when it comes to the point, the ultimate point, the Tara is none other than our own wisdom, ultimate wisdom. So we ourselves are Tara in that way.
所以这种智慧呢，听起来非常的高尚，就算是明空不二的这个。那这个明空不二的究竟智慧本身，不是来自于他人，而是在我们自己内在中自我觉醒的这个境地，这个才是最究竟的圣救度佛母。这个度母本身，究竟来说，其实就是我们的智慧。
Yeah, and the Tara that the Tara that we pray, Tara that we believe in, that we devoted to mind.
那个我们所创造的度母，我们所相信的度母，那我们对它产生，我们是我们心念的创造的实相。
Yeah, so as I say, everything is not I say, as the Buddha said, everything is emptiness. Whatever we see there is not actually it's there, but we are conditioned to see that thing in there, right? So the Tara is same. It goes same with Tara. Tara itself is an emptiness. But how do we see a Tara? The green Tara, the white Tara, is because we are, connected, or maybe we have this condition, a karmic condition, to see a Tara, which is our own making. It's not that Tara actually exists there. It's actually we are conditioned to see Tara, which is conditioned by our own karma, and it's a reflection of our own mind. So Tara is none other than ourselves when it comes to the ultimate point.
那这不是仁波切讲的，是佛陀自己讲的，一切现象都是离不开空性。那空性就是说，我们看见事情，我们以为它是那个样子，它的本身的实相却不是我们所看见的那个样子。那比如说我们看度母，我们所谓的这个绿度母啊、白度母、黄度母，那个绿、黄或者白都是我们自身的状况所产生的一种投射，但是因为我们而有的，那它是空无自性的，没有一定的自性的存在，这要关系到我们自己的业力跟特别的一种状况的投射跟反应。所以真正的度母而言呢，它就是没有离开过我们自己本身。
So when we pray to Tara, right, how it really actually helps is obviously because of our positive emotions, the devotion, all those things. But it also helps us get closer to, right? Because Tara is the union of clarity and emptiness, which is a wisdom, right? Tara that's the ultimate Tara. And whenever we pray to Tara, we are basically trying to, be closer to our own reality, right? The wisdom. That's how when we pray, that's how it actually works. We call it tendil, it's actually, I don't know how we call it in, do you know how to translate it in Chinese? Tendil, interdependent, yeah, that's how actually it works. But there's no like, oh, you do this, you put this, it's not like a Wi-Fi, like, oh, you put this wire there, you put this wire there. That's how all those karma things work. There's no actually, like very absolute explanation that can teach you or show you that, see, this is how all those karma work. There's no such thing like that. It's all interdependent.
所以这边就告诉我们说，当我们对向度母祈祷祈愿的时候，主要是我们祈愿之后产生一种正面的心念，然后我们的虔诚心加上我们改变我们的心态，那我们就离开我们内在的秘密的那个空明不二的最究竟的智慧越来越靠近的时候，我们就得到它的救度。这个是最究竟的度母的阐释跟这个定义。也就是说呢，我们离开我们内心中的实相，内心中的智慧，内心中那个空明不二的这个究竟的智慧越来越靠近，那一切都是缘起的不可思议的法则。那这样的话，不是说 WiFi 这样我们点了这个就有那个效果的出现，而是指一切都是相互缘起的空无自性，却又是相互缘起的。
Yeah, for example, Shantideva say, who made those hell in the hell realm? No one has made. But how do we see all those hell realm, right? Is because we have this karmic condition to see hell, even though there's no hell. It goes same with everything.
那这个吉天菩萨就说了，谁造作了地狱？地狱是怎么出现呢？虽然是地狱是空无自性的，可是因为我们有业力所作所现，为是随心所现，所以就创作了地狱的这个情况。一切都是我们自心所现，业力所投射的。
Yes, but it's quite easy to speak about it, but it's not very easy to think about it, because there's always two truth, right? The conventional truth and ultimate truth. So we have to be very skillful, separating these two, or else it could get very messy.
那么讲是很容易，但去细细去思维一下，确实发现是越来越不简单，因为我们有两种真理 就是世俗谛跟圣义谛，就是究竟的真理跟这个世俗的相对的真理，所以这方面觉得要分化的清楚一点比较好。
Yes, and to be honest, right, we are almost like out of time, right? So there's no way, I mean, maybe if teachers, if someone who's very skillful, super skillful, that can, teach all those Dharma practices in like 2 hours, but trust me, I cannot. So, but I've tried my best, but maybe, we can try next time, or maybe, another time, we can talk more deeper into all these practices, and especially as we say, how to practice Tara, right? But I think the understanding about Tara itself, understanding, about how it works, when we practice or pray, is more important than practice itself first.
那我们时间也差不多了，那很多老师上师能够在2个小时里面很清楚为各位讲解什么是度母的修持法门的精要，但是仁波切说他做不到。那可是他认为说，在这个短短的时间里面呢，为大家讲解以怎么样的观点来看待这个度母。那这度母的祈愿有效的方法是什么？怎么样正确的理解这个圣救度佛母，是来的比这个修行度母的法门本身来的更为重要的，更具有意义的啊。就这一点要绝对要跟各位讲清楚。
Yeah, because the wrong view and the biggest the misunderstanding, and not being able to understand the fact is the biggest problem of all the problems in our, not even in our Buddhist in our spiritual life, but also in normal life, right? Misunderstanding, overthinking, and thinking wrong about others, about fact, right, is the thing that really create problem in our life, right? So that's why I prefer to give you some, very general outline of, this Tara practice.
所以这个邪知邪见、错误的认知来得比一般的认知来得更为可怕，跟它的杀伤力是更为严重的。所以呢，有时候我们胡思乱想，然后过度的思想错误的乱想，然后负面思想，那这种效果本身是非常的可怕的，也是为我们生命中带来很多负面的能量。所以很重要的是，仁波切今天要各位讲的开示的目的，主要给各位稍微一些比较正确的这个知见跟这个正确的看法。
And please do not be discouraged. Like, oh, Tara seems to be very complicated. It is not simple as it seems, right? So please do not discourage, because we have this saying, Shempe Shukna Dilve Miluba. It's actually a very nice word, to be honest. Shempe Shukna, right? It's like if you really desire, right? If you really desire to do something, especially I'm talking about practice now. It's not like, hiking or anything. I'm talking about practice. It's a Shempa is like a desire. Shukna means if you go, right? If you desire something, Delve Milupa means you will never be failed by the connection. You will never be failed by the connection. Now, this is very nice word. Shempe Shukna Delve Milupa. Even though desire is something that we look down on, right? Shempa. I mean, like not Tantra, but of course, there's another thing that I want to explain, right? If you desire something, right? And let's say if you desire something and you pray something, but you will never be failed by the prayer, because why? You have already leave a connection, by that prayer. So that connection will never fail you. That's what it says. So all we need to do is pray at the beginning. Don't think about those very complicated things at the beginning.
人们也说，不要因为讲这么多，你觉得度母的法门这么的复杂我干脆就不要去拜，不要去求，不要去祈祷，那不是这个样子的永远不会因为觉得这法门的深奥跟不可思议跟复杂，觉得气馁跟放弃，永远不要这样。因为我们说这个藏文，刚才仁波切所念的里面就是说，只要你想要一样事情，那你身体力行的去祈愿的话，你就跟这个事情产生这个连接。那你跟这个事情所产生连接，永远不会让你失败的，永远不会让你怎么说放弃希望的，永远这还是有希望的。只要你跟这个事情， 你所求的心愿产生这个连接，那你会永不失败。所以就是这个意思。所以不要觉得气馁，也不要去开始祈祷，开始就念度母吧。一开始的话，慢慢的话，你就会觉得它的效果会出现。
Yes, and when I say right, we don't look down on desire or all those stuff, right? It's not means that we don't look down on hatred, anger. It doesn't mean that you can just get angry and beat people and start breaking things. It doesn't mean. As long as those anger is under control, it's just fine. As long as you can use that anger to, if you can use that anger and generate certain energy from that anger, right? That's good. Don't get me wrong, Rinpoche said, anger, we don't look down. Anger is good, so we can get angry and start slapping people, each other, right? It's not true. As long as, it doesn't matter Mahayana, Theravadin, or Tantrayana, the anger has to be under control. But it doesn't matter, Tantrayana and Theravadin and Mahayana, it doesn't matter, it is under control or not, they will always get rid of those. That's what it is taught in Mahayana teaching. And Tantrayana, and that thing will help you to achieve enlightenment if you know how to use it. So don't misunderstand me,
那当我们说我们不要看低这个欲望的时候呢，不是这个意思说我们不要看清所有的烦恼，不是意思说你不要看清这个嗔怒心，那你尽量去可以发怒、乱发脾气、乱打人、骂人，那绝对不是这个意思哦。在密续的观点里面讲，只要你能够控制你自己的脾气或者是发怒的这个能量的话，然后你用那个能量帮助你修行的话，你大可以这么做。可是不管大乘、密乘这个小乘也好，那如果你控制不了的话，你被他所用而你不是用他的话，那是最不理想的。当然，金刚乘、密续知道跟那个大乘、小乘不一样的地方是说，那个大乘、小乘把烦恼视之为敌人，可是金刚乘、密续呢，把它当作是能够转之为道用的能量，乃至能帮助你自己呢。在最快的速度里面呢，就近成佛，离苦得乐。
Yes, so maybe I should also tell you this, that to achieve enlightenment, there's no other way than Tantrayana. Most of the people might think, how about Theravadian, how about Mahayana? So if we just practice, using their path, is it impossible to attain enlightenment? Yes, there's no other way than Tantrayana, but the teachings are teaching, right? So in Mahayana, it's if you follow this path, you will achieve enlightenment. But that's not, whole true. At the end, you have to go through Tantrayana practice.
然后最后要告诉各位，就是说呢，除了金刚乘、密续之道之外呢，没有其他的成佛的法门。那你会怀疑说，仁波切这个所谓的南传佛教、上座部，那大乘佛教，那不也是可以单单凭他们的方法而究竟成佛？不是，到最后呢，还是要经历到最后的那个阶段，就是密续之道呢，来究竟圆满佛道的。
And the reason is because even when we talk about, these 3 bodies of Buddha, right? Dharmakaya, Asumbhakaya, is it? Yeah, yes, Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya, right? All those, because they have causes and condition, right? In Mahayana, right, it only taught the rough. It's roughly tough, but the subtle one, the subtle causes condition is taught only in Tantrayana practice, in teaching. So that's why, if you really want to achieve enlightenment, you need to have that condition, right? The subtle causes and condition. And that is only taught in Tantrayana. That's the reason, there's no other way than Tantrayana. I just want you to give a general knowledge about it. So, when I was young, I was also shocked, so Mahayana practice, we cannot achieve enlightenment. I was very shocked. So I don't want you guys to, go through this same experience.
那仁波切告诉各位说，因为在我们说要成就佛道，必须要具足的佛的3身：法身、报身跟化身。那里面呢，一般粗浅的因缘，大乘里面所讲之粗浅的因缘来成就佛的法报化3身。可是密续里面呢，微细的因缘呢，我们就讲得非常的清楚。所以可见呢，除了这个密续的法门能够让我们就近的成就佛道之外，没有第2条路可以让我们选择的。那么在年轻的时候听到这句话，也觉得非常的惊讶，可是慢慢的思维一下，觉得是非常的有道理的。
Yeah, so at the end, the one thing that we can do is that, the visualization of Tara, especially when you guys chant Tara mantra, right? Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha. When you chant this mantra, how do you visualize? Usually, I would say, just follow, if you could, or maybe if you have a time learning, going through those sadhana equally, right? I think it would be nice. But even though we are very busy human being, we don't have so much time, right? And what we really can do is a very simple and short visualization.
那我们观想度母，在我们念诵这个度母的心中，我们大家观想，特别是时间不够的时候呢，人们就会下来跟各位解释。
There's actually many ways, to do visualization. But one of the most simple thing is that, because actually, there's so many things we need to talk about, like even what are the meanings of, like these mudras, right? And all those, the ornaments, the positions. There are so many things we should be like talking now, but we're running out of time, right? So, but thing is that the visualization, as I say, if you pray, it will always make a connection to achieve that, final goal. So don't worry about, not understanding all those details. But thing is that whenever you chant mantra, right, green Tara, Tara, you can say Tara. The reason why we say green Tara is the main Tara. That's why other are just a, emanation of the green Tara. That's why green Tara. So green Taras, like hand is like this, right? And one hand is like this, So let you want to translate? Okay.
是，那我们谈了很多很多细节，必须要谈的手印啦、姿势啦等等时间。那因为时间不够，没有办法的详谈。那无论如何，像人们界之前所说，当你祈祷的时候，你就跟这个度母产生了连接。那你会心想事成，所以细节不必太过的在意。但是你念到这个度母星座的时候呢，为什么说绿度母？因为绿度母是主要的21度母的主尊，那其他的度母都是从这边划线的。所以你看度母的这个形象的时候，它有结两种手印，一种是三宝手印，一个是布施手印，刚才人们界所做的那样。
Yeah, so this is not this, it's this, just like this. And it shows like 3 fingers, right? It means that triple gem. That's what it says, like if you take a refuge at triple gem, you will achieve enlightenment, it will help you. That's what
左手结的是三宝手印，这个手指立起来的三宝手印，也就是代表说，如果你皈依三宝的话，你必定能够心想事成，究竟成佛，就是这个意思。
Yeah, so and one hand is like this. It means that I will give you anything.
下面就是布施或者满愿手印，就是我会给你你需要的一切，满你所愿。
In Tibet, we call it Chojingi Chagya, means I will give you the best, which is enlightenment, right?
我会把最好的给你，就是成佛，那个佛果送给你。
Yeah, and you always see a Tara, very young and pretty, right? Not, very old and, like frail or slow. You will never see this kind of Tara. The meaning of it, because Tara means she has the power, ability. The young people have ability and all the things, when it comes to strength, running, agility, everything, right? So it's mean that I can help you. I'm young and I have the ability. That's what it represents. 老白发苍苍的样貌，为什么就代表年轻貌美？代表是鲜活、有活力、有创意、有能量。度母就是告诉你说，我是一个年轻的这个能量，我永远都是鲜活的，充满创意能量，我可以帮助你。And especially, the main Tara is green, right? What it means that there's like different types of activities, right? Like, pacifying, right? All those things. Pacifying, and what is the others? Magnetizing, right? So there's like 4 types of activities. So green represent that she can do all those 4 activities. The green color represent, and she has the ability to perform all those 4 activities. 那为什么主尊这个绿度母是绿色呢？这代表说，一般佛法的密宗的事业有习真怀珠，那就是代表着这个绿色能量呢，代表说绿度母能够成就这4种习真怀珠的事业。And one of her feet is like, how to say, I don't know how to say, like a little bit
outstretched.
Yeah,
outstretched.
stretch out, right? It's a little bit outstretched, and one the left is inside, right? It's bended. It means that pangto, it's like whatever he needs to know, right? By stretching out, it means that whatever she need to remove, she has already removed. Whatever she has to attain, she have achieved everything, by bending the left knee.
那度母的这个右腿是外伸，那左腿是内屈向内的。那外伸就是代表说能够向外驱除的一切，他已经把它熄灭了，把它驱除的一干二净。那左腿内屈的原因跟这个缘由，就是他能够在内在证悟的，他已经完全证悟了。
So yes, so anyway, the thing is that, you can always visualize that you are under, her right hand, you yourself, right, under her right hand, right? And all the friends or even your enemy. Now I told you, right, we need to have a very different mentality. You want your enemy to be happy. Can we? Because, right, we want all the sentient beings to be achieved, to be Buddha, isn't it? So yeah, your enemy, all those people that you want to be happy has to be around you, right? And you chant mantra.
那你要观想，你就在这个度母的右手的庇佑跟守护之下，那身边都是你的朋友、你的敌人。那你要之前人不清楚说，你要转换你的思维，你要愿意祈愿你的敌人也同样跟你一样开心、快乐、离苦得乐。所以因为你的菩提心就是希望一切众生能够圆满成佛嘛，所以必须要这么做。所以你观想在念诵这个。
From her hand, right, there's liquids, or water dripping over your head, right, and dissolving into your body. At that very moment, you need to think, you need to visualize, because Tantra practice, is a visualization. Mepa lamche, we say, you make a visualization of your path, right? So you need to visualize that, those liquids and all those lights, right, that dissolve into your body helps you to clear all those 3 poisons. You need to visualize, right?
你必须要去观想，因为观想是密乘的修持之道。观想什么呢？从绿度母的手那边呢出现这甘露和光，那从你的头顶里面进入你的身体，融合成为一体呢，就是观想这个光进入你的身体之后呢，把你的三毒、贪嗔痴的所有的障碍呢、烦恼呢都清除、净化得一干二净。
Yeah, so I think I should give you an oral transmission about the mantra, right? Because most of the Chinese people, because I don't blame you guys, but when it is written in Chinese language, right, instead of saying Om, they always say Ong, right? I think it has to be, with the Chinese word. So it's not exactly Ong, it's more like Om, O-M. So that's why, I prefer to write it into, in English, right? So it's so easy, Om. But in Chinese, they always say Ong, right? So there's a difference. So it's not Ong, it's Om, right? And Ta-re. I think, can you guys pronounce Ta-re? Re. It's R, Ta-re. It's not Ta-le. Yeah, because I know. It's actually very hard to, teach. It's not Ta-le. Because most of the Chinese people, they say Ong, Ta-le, Tu-le, Soha. Which is, it's okay, but, if you really want to pronounce, in a correct way, it's more like, so can you guys repeat? Om.
Om.
Ta-re.
Ta-re.
Tu-ta-re.
Tu-ta-re.
Tu-re.
Tu-re.
Swaha.
Swaha.
Yeah, that's how it is, right? So whenever you chant this mantra, as I say, you do the visualization, and that's it. Now, most important thing is that do not limit the chanting of this mantra, right, to a certain time and certain place. Never say, oh, now I'm in toilet, I should not, chant mantra. It's disrespect to Uta. No, it's not like that, really.
然后当然不是要怪各位，但是因为人们就要给各位这个度母心咒的口传，但是我们华人的发音往往不太准。比如说这个 om 的时候，我们的话是华人往往念成 om 这样子，那个发音不太准确。那 dale 我们念成 dale 这样子，所以就 om dale do dale do le 说哈，就是比较 华人式的发音一点。那正式的发音就是 Om Dare Du Dare Dure Swaha， 就是一边口传之后，他们一边念咒一边要观想。那同时念咒要超越时空的限制，比如说我在厕所里面，我就不应该念这个度母的这个心咒，恐怕会不恭敬啊，绝对不是这个样子的，所以不要有这样的不正确的想法。
Yes. So wherever you are in bus, you're in car, you're in plane, right? You know, plane doesn't have to shake, you know, for you to chant mantra, really. Whenever, when even your flight are so safe, you know, and sound, you should chant mantra, right? So don't limit it into certain places and time. Anywhere, because, you know, we need to have that devotion, you know. The thing is that, you know, the reason, it's not more like, you know, chanting mantra itself. It's like, do you really remember Tara? You know, like, when are you happy? Do you really remember Tara? Most of us we don't remember. Whenever there's an exam, whenever there's an interview, then we remember Tara and oh Tara, you know, like help me, all those stuff. So it's like, you know, remembering the Tara is very, very important. And your, you know, what happens, like how you are gonna get, you know, receive the blessing is totally dependent on how much you believe in Tara. And that's the, you know, the connection, that's the, how to say, power of interdependent.
那么呢，在什么地方不要受时间空间的限制，然后觉得我非要在特定的时空环境下念度母不可，在车上念、走路念、在飞机上也念，不要因为飞机颠颠簸簸有那个什么气流的时候才念这个度母。那飞机飞得很顺的时候也应该要念度母。那度母看的是你的前进心，那这超越一切的时空的。那主要的不是关于念咒本身，而是通过念咒你记得自己是谁，你自己就是度母。那这样的话才能够让自己真正的快乐起来，不要非得遇到一些磨难的状况的时候才念度母，比如说要考试的时候、要印证的时候才记得度母。所以要得到度母的价值，你就必须要对度母具有这个不动摇的虔诚心，要恒时不刻的想念起度母、意念起度母的功德，这个就是缘起的法则。
Yes, and at the end, as it's same for, you know, every practices, intention is very important. Then it comes the action, and at the end there has to be a dedication. And people ask me, you know, how can I dedicate? It's very simple. The way you dedicate your song, you know, to your boyfriend or girlfriend, right? Maybe all of us seems to be like above 30, so we know how we dedicate those songs in radio, right? Or I want to dedicate this song to my boyfriend or friend, blah blah. It's same like that. Whatever you have done, right, before the dedication, you dedicate those good karma to others, right? But it will help you the most, really. It will help you. I dedicate it to, you know, you, right? Of course, it helps you, but it helps me the most. This is the meaning of being skillful, right? So dedication is very important, because if you dedicate, the karma that you have accumulated will last forever. If you don't dedicate, this will, you know, die after some time.
那跟像其他修法一样的，有这个前行、正行跟这个戒行。前行就是我们的发心跟动机，就是菩提心；正行就是我们念咒观想的部分。然后最后一部分就是要结行，就是要把功德跟回向，然后功德回向给一切的这个众生。那我们大家都是年过30的中年人了，那大家都有把歌在那个电台点歌送给你男朋友、女朋友的那个状况出现。那这个回向功德跟点歌送给别人一样，送给男女朋友一样，就是你把这功德送给你特别是曾经帮助过你的人，因为你帮助他们才更能够的真正到利益到你，帮助到你，所以你自助助人，自利利他，这样的话你才能够自我辗转真上。那因为这个业力不可思议的缘起，那到最后这样的话，你获得最大的利益者呢，就是你自己本身，这个就是所谓的功德的回向。
Yes, so I think that's about it. And thank you very much for bearing, you know, these 2 very hard hours with me here. So thank you very much.
谢谢各位呢，感恩各位经历过了这2个艰难的2个小时，谢谢大家。那我们
Sure, yeah, exactly. That's what.
如果有任何问题的话，可以发问哦，这麦克风在这边。
Of course, if there's any answer, right, it's good. If you don't have answer, it's also very good. So no pressure.
如果你问问题有答案哦，还不错；没有答案的话没有关系，也一样很好。有任何的问题吗？
Maybe you guys can prepare some, question, because tomorrow also we have, I think short teaching session, right? So maybe at that time you guys can ask.
明天也可以准备一些问题，今天可以准备一些问题，明天可以放。哦。
Hello, Rinpoche. Can Tantra Yana practice make a practitioner to achieve enlightenment in one lifetime? Or will it be only achievable during the Bardo period, or it will need a few lifetimes to achieve enlightenment?
Oh yeah, it can, of course. It doesn't even have to be a one lifetime, It can be done under one lifetime. Yeah, can easily. But it depends, and as I say, it's always about the connection. Because, not only, now see, right, it's a very tricky question. Now let's say one lifetime. How do we know actually, this is our first lifetime that we have been practicing Tantra Yana for? It's very tricky, to be honest.
那这个问题问说，人不切那个金刚乘密续法门可以让我们一生内成佛，还是几世内成佛，还是中阴的时候成佛？对啊。那人不切说这个是很怎么说很吊诡的一个问题哦。那比如说你说在一生内里面成佛，的确可以。那你怎么知道你这一生你是你的第一生修行金刚身吗？还是不是？还是你前世已经修了很多世，你不知道？
So when we emphasize, right, Tantra Yana is very powerful. It can help you to achieve enlightenment. It's just trying to emphasize, the ability to that teaching or practice. That's it. It doesn't really mean that if you achieve enlightenment in this life by practicing Tantra Yana, it doesn't mean that you have achieved this in one lifetime. Because who knows? We have been practicing, Tantra Yana for maybe 500 years ago. Who knows? No one knows, right?
那这主要的告诉你的密续法门说，你能够在你一生里面获得寄生成就，就是你代表你有这样的能力。可是他们并不告诉你到底修了多久，然后是不是能够在这一世里面你绝对可以成就。
Yeah, even Mahayana, I guess, really, because it is said that to achieve enlightenment, right? Usually we say it's 3 life, eonless life, time, right? But to be honest, right, it just, it can be a matter of moment. Like one time something happened in your life, that's it. That small thing can boost you, your motivation or intention or your, the longing to achieve enlightenment, and you can achieve enlightenment in 1 year. One lifetime. It's just about, sometimes it's just about that timing, and that timing, is always caused by our own condition.
Which means that will actually, if that timing occurred, then when you achieve enlightenment, then you do not wait until the time that you die, which means they will be manifested into the rainbow body to be free from samsara. Is that correct?
Not necessary. Not necessary.
Not necessary.
Yeah, because even in Mahayana teachings, there are a lot of discussion that so during the part of the time, do we achieve enlightenment? Yeah. So there's some of they say yes, some of they say cannot, right? So, but even in Tantra Yana, right, you can achieve before. It doesn't mean that you have to go to a certain pardo, so that you can achieve rainbow body life. But it can be done even before the death.
所以人们记得答案就是说，只要时节因缘成熟的话，乃至你一个刹那成就立地成佛也不无可能。那很多人就是3代时节因缘配合的话，你刹那就可以顿悟。也可以刹那就觉悟成就佛道了。另外一个问题说，也就是说你不需要等待死亡的临终的时候发生，中阴身的阶段也不需要得证彩虹身就能够证悟成佛，是不是？人们就说是的。即便是大圣里面有很多的讨论，也就是说你不需要等到临终死亡那一刻证的这个，也不需要等待某个中阴的时间点的出现，你就可以在此生内呢，究竟圆满证悟成佛。
It means that. Like, do we really need to die? Is this the question, right?
You asking, you don't need to die to be allowed to be
means alive and
Yes.
and vanish into a rainbow.
Oh, yeah, because the reason why we always emphasize about the dead, right, is because we as a human being, when we die, let me give you one very short, maybe I hope it helps you. The reason why we always wait until we die, right? Not specifically, Tantrayana, just in generally. Why we wait until we die is because, our, how to say, the senses, our sense organ, because we are designed in a certain way that we always see outside thing, right? I can never see inside. You can hear, your ears can be very, very good, but you would not hear the closest thing, which is your own organ, right? You don't hear your heart beating, isn't it? Right? But your ear might be very good, but you don't hear a heart beating most of the time. So our senses organ, is it senses organ or what? Organ senses. Senses organ, senses power. Our ear, eyes, those nose and tongue is very outwardly, outwardly bounded, how to say, senses. So it doesn't have a ability to see inside. So, but when we die, what happens? All of those things, just go down, right? So in turn, right, what it really does is that now we have no distractions. Now we don't have any, faculties that helps us to get distracted, to outside. Now there's no eyes, no ear, and all the senses get poor, right? Then our mind is more now only left our mind, and that's how we see inside, because there's no distraction of these senses organs. So that's why we wait. We always talk about like when we die, and there will be one moment of herself, right? The like clear light. Yeah. This is the one reason.
那为什么人们界答案为什么说我们要等到死后才能够成就，才能够证悟，才能够见性，然后心很可以锐利的看到外面的景物，看不到内在的东西。然后耳根很利，再利也好，你听不到你自己内脏跟心脏的跳动的声音，一直听外面。所以当你死的时候，你的5大元素瓦解消融的时候，器官一个一个的感知都消融不见了。到之后你的心光往内所谓的回光返照，你唯有向内观照，那你就在那刹那一瞥之间，可能你就见到了这个自信的明光。人们就说，那个时候你捕捉那个灵光闪现那一刹那，你可能就在那个刹那获得解脱成佛的机会，那是中阴成佛了。那可能就是这样。好，那么这里是 Zoom question from the Zoom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, here. How do we perform long distance healing? Any
long what?
Long distance healing, like a Reiki.
Long distance what?
Long distance healing.
Healing.
Yeah.
Healing, right?
Healing, yeah. Yeah.
I think it's just to pray. That's all. You mean long distance healing, right? Let's say my mother is sick in Sikkim, right? Now I need to heal her. Oh, I think, only thing we can do is pray. So the question means like the person, let's say, it's me, I want to heal my mother. Oh, so she is in Sikkim, right? I'm here in Malaysia, then I want to heal my mother. Oh, I think, I mean, if you are some bodhisattvas, maybe there are a lot of things to do, right? But what we really can do is just pray. That's all we can do.
然后这个问题是我们 Zoom 的问题，说怎么样可以远程治病？什么法可以 ？Any special practice that we can do, Ramji?
Usually, for example, let's say in monastery we do prayers, right? We do a medicine Buddha's prayer. Yeah.
Okay.
It should be like this. I'm not very sure about it. Yeah.
Okay. 那人们就说不确定，这只要你需要是佛的法门呢，你一般远程治病也好，怎么样都好，就是你为那个人念诵一些尽量的为他祈祷就可以了，祈祷就可以改变这一切哦。Next question， 人们姐，while do we have to visualize while we recite the mantra?
Yeah, the mantra, right, is actually the side thing, to be honest. Mantra is not the main thing. Visualization is more important. Because mantra is mostly when you get tired, by by doing a visualization for, let's say, 1 hour, then we don't really have ability to concentrate on one thing for so many hours, right? So when you get tired, then we chant mantra. It's more like that. Because most of the people think chanting mantra is the most important thing. No, most important thing is the visualization itself. And when you want to rest a little bit, then you can chant mantra.
那这个问题问说，念诵咒语是不是一定要非要观想不可？那么就是说，其实无时不刻呢，佛法的修持最主要还是观想，观想才念诵这个咒语来让你休息一下，因为一般上你观想长达1个小时太久了，你要稍微的休息一下，所以咒语不是主要的，主要是观想。那咒语是捕捉观想而用的这方面的善巧。
Yeah.
Rinpoche, there's one question talking about when a person die as a practitioner, Rinpoche gave a very good explanation about 5 senses will die off, right?
Oh.
So when the 5 senses die off, you see a light. So when that light comes in, is that being a practitioner? Is that your idam, or should we connect it to that light moment, or will we get confused because our 5 senses are already shut down? So we were not sure whether that would be our connection.
That light is not to be seen by your eyes. It has nothing to do with our eyes, and that light is not even has to do anything, with our physical light. It's not like, it's more like a clarity, because what we like to say, light, that's the problem with our language. But it's more about clarity. When we say, clear light, right? People think, like this kind of light. It's not like that. Like as if I know about it. Sorry, but that's what our teachers say. That's not this kind of light. It's more about clarity. Like, the Mentos. Mentos. I think you guys don't know. It will only work in India. Like when you eat that candy, everything gets so bright, right? Something like that. When you get the answer, and I think you should translate.
那这个问题问到说，我们五官都消融减退的时候，那我会看到这个本尊还是那个闪亮的明光，怎么捕捉？然后会不会就此一样昏迷过去呢？当我们的眼、耳、鼻、舌、身、意都慢慢的关闭的时候，那人们就说，所谓的这个明光，并不是这个肉眼能够看到的那种光亮，而是我们内在的明性之光，那是刹那一瞥的那种明性之光，就是好像人不界老师都告诉他这样就是说你吃一个糖叫做 medos， 然后突然间你有一种灵光一闪那种恍然大悟哈那种感觉，那种是自信的明性的刹那的显现，而不是一定是外在的那种光明的出现。
And whether you're gonna get confused or not, right? It's totally depend, right? At that moment, like let's say, you didn't do anything, right? But you die, and of course, all of us go through this kind of, experience, unless you die, like it's a sudden death. Like if it's a car crash, then there's nothing, see, right? So when you have a natural, death, then you will have this kind of, experience. But it's now, if I'm someone never practiced, I've never learned or never prepared for those, to experience this kind of experience, right? Then that's it. You will totally be confused. You will not even notice anything. So it depends what you do when you're alive. You understand? When you die, there's a rainbow, there's like, parrots singing, doesn't mean anything. It depends, what you did when you were alive. And yeah, and those preparation, what you did when you were alive, now that's gonna like, work when you die. When you go through those experience.
所以问题是你会迷惑还是捕捉那个灵光一闪的刹那而究竟解脱，这要看你在生的时候准备的功夫有多少。那如果你在这一生里面没有修持任何的法门，没有任何的准备的话，当然你甚至一般人的所谓突然间的死亡，心脏突然间停止的话，那你可能就保持无意识的状态，就这样什么都不知道发生什么你也不懂。可是如果是一般自然死亡的状况呢，你是有机会在这个一般的这个中阴的过程当中，每一个时刻每一个阶段都能够捕捉到这个解脱的机会的。那主要的不是临终时候发生什么，看见彩虹有没有光之类的，而是在你有生之年的时候，你准备的有多充足，你准备的越好的话，自然你就会生死无惧，能够自在往生，或者是自在获得解脱。
Yeah, and even I think your question is like, does it like has anything to do with your gurus, right? And hidam, even though you see, your hidam at that moment, right? You're seeing hidam is not the same as you see now, because all of those, that moment is very special and very powerful. It's a very distraction-free moment at that moment, right? Even you see that your guru, or because a lot of Christian, they see a Jesus when they pass away, right? Something like that, because of their devotion and belief. You will see that, but their experience is not going to be the same experience as when you were alive.
临终的时候看到耶稣的出现，那个耶稣跟他平时所看见的耶稣是完全不一样的。
Yeah, it's like a very expensive car, very expensive car, but you really don't like that. You are not attracted to the expensive car, right? So even if that car is like burning in flame, right? Yeah, there's nothing, right? There's no affection. I mean, there's no any effect. That's it, right? So something like that. So your mind at that moment will not be affected by any kind of thing.
所以，比如说一辆名贵的跑车在那边，你不喜欢的，你根本对那个跑车没有兴趣的。那跑车在你面前被火烧掉了，你一点也不为之所动。所以你临终的时候所发生的事情就是这样。如果不为之所动的话，你一点都不会被他所影响。
Yeah. I think there's one.
Any other questions?
This question.
Which one?
Malaysian people are aggressive, huh?
马来西亚人很有攻击性哦。
Tashidele Rinpoche, since after the COVID, a lot of people fell into depression.
Yes.
Right. So many of them cannot recover. Okay, some of them, they have chest pain or that, and they fell into depression. They ask, is depression kind of karma?
Yes, of course. I mean, when we talk about karma, right, one of the things that I want to clear out is not about like past life, right? It's not really about like past life all the time. Karma is like what you did. For example, let's say, of course, I have a huge sympathy, and empathy for those people who actually are experiencing depression, because I'm also one of those people, when I was very young. Really, I have these kind of, like very, I wouldn't say very, like recurring suicidal thoughts, but it was also quite depression. I know how it feels, right?
那就在问人们接这个问题说，我们在新冠肺炎的这个时代，那过渡的这个时期呢，很多人因为有这个忧郁症啊，然后有一种之后的一些这种胸痛之类的东西会出现，那是不是由他们的业所造成的？那人们这答案就是说，所谓的业并不一定是过去所造的，我目前的所作所为也是跟我们的业有关系的哈。那人们就说他对那些因为生活的种种关系而有忧郁症的这个人感到极度的同情，因为人不觉自己本身也是这样的这个轻度忧郁症的患者。
And don't always think about, like, when we talk about karma, right? Don't always think about doing something. It is more like sometime, not doing anything will cost you more than doing something. You understand?
谈到业的时候，不要一直认为说我们非做一些东西不可以，有时候你什么都不做，比你做一些东西更有效、更有力。
So sometimes, right, not doing anything, sleeping in your bed, doing nothing, will cost you a lot of, thing in your life. So that's why I'm saying, for example, there's two people, right, facing the same difficulty, right? There are two people facing the same difficulty, right? And one people can go depression, and when one person can still be unaffected, isn't it? There's a very, famous example. Let's say, I am a very rich kid, right? And there's one how to say, let's say Buddhist practitioner. And that Buddhist practitioner has no leg, right? I have a leg, but I don't have a shoe, right? But I'm very rich, that's not the life that I've been, living, right? I wear those Versace shoe and those Gucci shoes, right, all the time. So one day I couldn't find the shoe that I want to wear. I feel depressed, right? But that Buddhist monk who doesn't have a leg to wear a shoe could be happier than me, could less suffer than me. You understand? Maybe he can even be more happier than me. So it depends on your mindset. It's not exactly about, like COVID, or it's not exactly about what really happened in your life. It's about how you take it, really.
这不是关于你生命中发生什么，而是你发生什么之后，你的心态如何应对那个你发生在你身上的这个事情。比如说，同样一个问题，两个不同的人面对同一个问题，一个可能会安然度过，另外一个人可能会获得忧郁症或者之类的东西，消耗不能够好好的挺过这个艰难的时段。就举一个例子，人们就说，一个很有钱的人，他什么鞋都有，什么鞋子都有；另外一个是一贫如洗，什么没有脚的一个学佛的人啊，学佛的行者。那这个很有钱的人呢，他找不到他要穿的适合他的鞋来穿，他就觉得极度的忧郁和不快乐。可是他没有想到说，连这个学佛的人连脚都没有可以给他穿些这个脚。可是这个学佛人可能因为虽然他没有脚，可是他可能过得比这个有钱的什么鞋都可以穿的有钱人呢更快乐，至少不会比他更为痛苦。所以主要的不是发生在你身边的事、身上的事，而是在你这个事情发生之后，你会以怎么样的心态去面对它。所以主要还是看你的个人的心态，而不是发生在你身上的是什么事情。
So yeah, it's totally. I wouldn't say like it will apply to everyone, but most in general, right? It's always about mindset. I would rather smile in my Maruti Suzuki car rather than crying in my Lamborghini. That's my mindset.
然后呢，你的心态是最主要的，不是发生在你身上的事情。你这个 Suzuki 的车来的这个 Lamborghini 可能来的更为自在写意哦。
Yeah, but in terms of Buddhist practitioner, right? I would say do not lose confidence and always have a humility. Really, that this is the two things that you must have in your life. Confidence, whatever you do, you need to have a confidence. It will success, but it shall pass. When you win a lottery, don't be so happy. It shall pass. When you lose a lottery, it shall pass. Nothing is for permanent.
人们就说，最主要的学佛人必须要记住两个特点条件，第一个是自信满满，第二个是要有保持谦卑的心。自信满满，相信自己做什么事情都必定会成功。然后谦卑的心，就算你中马票，这一切也会过去，不管是好是坏，一切都会过去。所以这两个要点跟特质非常的重要。
Yeah, as I say, I'm not joking. When I was young, about maybe 16, 17, I also have this kind of, depression kind of thing, and I really believe that it actually gave me a lot of opportunity to find a way to overcome that period of time. So now, like, if it never happened in my life and it all of a sudden it happens now, I would probably kill myself, really. But it happened when I was young, and I didn't lost confidence in myself, and I keep fighting through those times. So that's why I believe that I'm not dead yet.
所以仁波切在16、17岁的时候也经历过这个忧郁症的这个煎熬哈，所以他给了他很大的信心，说这个是可以被克服的。所以仁波切也告诉我们说，回顾过往，如果这个事情这个忧郁症发生在他现在这个时候的话，可能会自杀。所以他很感恩那个时候发生了这样的事情，使他有机会去面对并且克服超越的这些障碍。
Any more questions? If not, then our big round of applause for Rinpoche for great teaching. A good 2.5 hours. Teaching continue tomorrow on how to have an abundant and prosperous life. at morning 10 to 12, and also the grand Zambala empowerment and puja from 2 to 5. That's everyone's favorite. So I'd like to pass it back to our Chinese translator.
谢谢仁波切精彩的开示。然后不要忘了明天还有这个明天早上有这个怎么说明天早上的节目就是灌顶吗？明天早上是灌顶吗？明天早上的这个开示是如何过着幸福美满丰盛的人生。然后呢，2点到5点就是这个把黄财尊的这个灌顶跟这个法会。那我们现在的节目就到这边圆满的结束，请各位有持续排队上来接受仁波切的加持啊，谢谢各位 ，Thank you 仁波切。